Welcome to Dice Control Dojo. I'm Phil. I practice every day, and I'm sharing some tips so that we can all be better at the casino. Today we're going to talk about a on axis. What does it mean? Why do we want to throw on axis? And the hard ways. We want to talk about why I throw the hard ways in practice. What is the best set for throwing on a casino floor? And then why I throw the hard way live every time at a casino. So let's get started. So bear with me for the advanced players. I want to just review what on axis means. So on axis, when we're determining how the dice is thrown, this is on axis. So I have this set for the hard ways. I always set this with the 3-3 at the top, the 5-5, the 4-4, and the 2-2. Why is it called the Hardway set? Is because all of these, if they land perfectly, will give you the Hardway 6, Hardway 10, Hardway 8, and Hardway 4. So this is how we determine the hardways. This is the hardway set with the 1s on the outside and the 6s on the outside. So on axis will mean that when you throw these dice down the table, they're going to have a little backspin, they're going to hit the back wall, and they're going to land perfectly on axis. That means that the 5, 4, 3, or 2 on both dice land right where they're supposed to. That's a perfect throw. Now, these could be off a little bit. As long as the 3, 4, 5, and 2 are landing up, that is going to be on axis. What is off axis is if this dice turns one way or another. That's off axis. So same with this, one off axis. If both go off axis, it can happen like that too. So why do we do that when we're throwing, when we're practicing? This is the easiest way for newbies or me to determine how my throw was. Because if I throw it down there and I see that this is off and I threw a 6 on the one side, then I know that this dice was off axis. Something happened. If this one goes off and it's a 1, or if it goes this way, it's a 6, then I know that that was off axis and it wasn't what I wanted to do. So when you're setting a dice and you're getting down to throw the dice, I have these set so they're on axis and I can determine instantly what's going on. Now, I do have a computer program, if I was setting some other way, that I could see if the dice were off 1, and it will tell me that. So you can do that. That's fine. But I like the instant gratification of seeing. And as long as I don't have any money on the table, there's no reason for me not to throw this way, right? So I set this way each and every time. There's another reason I set for the hard ways is because I already have my fingers set for a specific die on these so that I set it easy each and every time. So that's another reason why I do it. That way, if I'm going to set some other way, I wouldn't know where my fingers are going to land based on where the die are set. So that's why I do it. Now, what is the best set? So I'm going to give you my 2 cents on this. The best set, when I set my computer up and I've looked at every throw that I've done, that I've logged into this system, I convert it over. There's a way to look in this system that you can convert it over on. If I set it for the 5-5, what would have happened if I had set it for a different one, like the 3-3, the V set? And it'll tell me what my SRR is. And 90% of the time, my SRR is best on the Hardway set. And so why would I change it? It's what I'm practicing. I know where the die is. I know what spots I'm setting my fingers for. When I get to the casino, Why would I change it if that's the most profitable set that I have? Doesn't make sense. Some people are determined that there are other sets out there. There's hundreds of videos on set this way for this situation, this way for this situation. I'm an old school and I'm a student. I'm still learning this. I still say the Hardway set is the best way to go until my computer tells me different. So that's how I rule. There's another thing. So if you're practicing and you're trying this V set, it's okay if the computer tells you when it's off, right? But what if you're live at a casino? Do you know what one off is? Have you memorized that? Maybe you have. But remember too, when you're practicing with two different colored dice, it's a little easier to figure out which is off one or off two. But when you have two dice the same, and you got 100 people down there with 1,000 chips, and you throw it, can you honestly say that you can see which left was that the left one or the right one that's off? It's hard to see. So if you're in a real life situation and you're setting the hard ways and you throw it down there, at least you have a fighting chance to know if they separate, if they stay together, which dice is left and which is right. And if it's off with a 1 or a 6, then you can determine if that's off. And why is that important? Because if you're live on a casino floor and you're making mistakes, you should be able to correct it. So why would you change up what you do on a practice routine every day by changing your set or being different at the casino? Doesn't make sense to me, but it's up to you. I know this is controversial, and I know a lot of people have their favorite sets out there, and I am just not a big believer of that until my computer says, Phil, you should be throwing this way for a better SRR. I'm not going to do it. So I threw that 360 before I started my 90 days to Vegas. In those 360, I was at 6.23 for my SRR. Well, I looked in the computer and I said, were there any other sets that would have been a better set for me to throw? And only one had a very small difference. It was like 6.4. And guess which one it was? It was setting the sevens. And I'm sorry, there's no way I'm going to set for sevens on a routine throw. If my craps crew saw me setting for sevens, they would kick my butt. So I am definitely not doing that. So if this is the best set, if this makes the most sense, if I'm the most comfortable throwing this on a routine basis, and when I get to the end, I can see which is off, one off, and then I can make corrections live on that floor, then I'm going to do it. It just makes sense to me. Keep it simple, stupid. That's how I'm looking at it for me, right? Keep everything. There's so many variables out there. There's so many things that can screw up our throw, screw up our 40 run or 50 run or 60 run. The last thing I want to do is set for something that may fail, right? And if the numbers don't lie, my SRR is best over 10 years with the Hardway. I'm sticking to it. Just my opinion. What do you guys think? Send me feedback on what your SRR is with the other dice. And have you noticed if it's harder on a casino floor to determine if you're one off? It may just be me. I just don't have the wherewithal on the floor when all this stuff is going on and I'm placing my bets and I'm getting ready to shoot next to know if I'm one off and in figuring that out in my brain. I just wanted to see a 1 or a 6. I know I'm off. I got to fix it somehow. And then hopefully I can do that. So let's review. The Hardway set is my preference. You're always going to see that. On axis, making sure we're trying to throw the dice on axis is usually the best policy. And then the live. Why it's important to keep throwing the way you throw from practice to real life. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give me some feedback. And then tomorrow, we're going to talk about, we're getting back to throw practicing and the swing, determining the proper way to use your large muscles to do the swing. And we're going to practice that tomorrow. So join me tomorrow. And remember, no matter what set you're doing, the best betting strategy is to throw for a long, long time.